Hello everyone, Dave here with Affordable Door and Gate. I had a email come through we'll call him Mr. J. And Mr. J was asking that it sounds like he might be in the trades of doing garage doors already, and he's looking to possibly go out on his own. And that's a scary situation. Been there, done that. Understand the concern. And he was also asking about vendors and how you get in with them and whatnot. I'd probably say on the vendor side of it, I wouldn't worry about getting in with direct vendors, either directly with LiftMaster or Genie. If you have somebody that's around, for us around here, we're very fortunate that we have a AMAR distributor. We have it's a Maury's. It's kind of a more mom and pop type of place that sells big into LiftMaster, and they also have garage doors. You do spend a little bit more money with them, but I would think what you're spending a little bit more money in is money that you're not investing into another person, basically, at the time being. Because unless you have like a wife or a secretary, a right-hand secretary that can fill out the paperwork, that can follow through with it, it's very time consuming on your part. Not saying you shouldn't pursue it down the road, but it's like if you want to get vendors' attention, it's like basically buy a skid of openers from them. That'll get their attention, and then you'll become a dealer right away, no questions asked. And so if you can find somebody or work with somebody, another garage door company or your own garage door company that you're with. See, the one thing I try to always stress to workers that work for me is that I always try to tell them that there might be a point in time when you get greedy. We all get greedy. We're all here for money. We're all here for a better living. We're all here for certain things in our life, right? But I always remember one guy told me once, he says, I don't come to your house and steal. Don't come to my house and steal. So, the moral of that story is that I don't have the opportunity, nor do I want to come to your house personally and steal from you or out of your bank account or anything. But it's easier for you to be at my business or vehicles or just whatever, tools and whatnot. It's easier for you to steal from me than it is for me to steal from you. And it's just not the right thing to do, because basically we have a contract that we agree upon, a dollar amount, right? A paycheck, and we're all supposed to do our job. And I have a job to do, they have a job to do, we all have jobs to do. So anyways, but if you can find a garage door company to work with, I'd always recommend that. Like I said, around here, we got it's Maury's, and it's kind of a middle person, but they sell garage doors. They're big into LiftMaster. They sell all kinds of stuff. They'll give you. We used to get our springs from them back in the day. It just got to the point where we have so much more capital now that we can buy in bulk, and we also just buy. It's when you start kind of putting nuts and bolts together, you start thinking about how much you're spending in time. You see that kitty back there? That kitty. Oh yeah, that kitty. That's a good kitty. But that's Oreo, just so you know. And but anyways, we ended up traveling. The thing is, by the time you start putting that, you're going, okay, I'm paying a guy in a vehicle. You're paying the guy X amount of dollars. The wear and tear, travel, pickup stuff it gets to be very, very expensive. But when you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of capital typically. Now, I was fortunate enough, I found an investor, and that gave me a lot more capital to really kind of push through and get things going. The capital is a big thing if you can save up. I mean, if I was to look at it right now, it's a big number. I mean, it's not that it's not possible, but just to feel somewhat comfortable, I'd want about 30,000 in the bank right now. If I was to start up a business in the garage door industry, I'd want 30 to work with. And that's just by myself. That's not with having employees. Oh, there's Smokey. Cats, they just got to be everywhere. And so I'd want the, like I said, right about 30. Not saying you can't do it with 5 or 10 or whatever. It's a struggle. It's stress. Another thing you got to take in consideration is that one thing I didn't realize with this business is it's an emotional roller coaster. You are constantly dealing with customers. If you bring employees, you want to try to scale. The scaling is really hard to do because you need people that you can trust. You need people that are dependable. And that is a really big challenge. And you got to pay them a fair wage. You know, you can't pay them $8 or $10 or minimum wage. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna happen to get good people. And there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes with just everything. And I guess what I'm getting at is if I could go back to my younger self, I would look into something maybe a little bit more passive. I always wish I would have got a little bit more into the real estate. I do rentals and stuff now, and looking back, it's hard because you're playing with debt and you're playing with money, so it's really a challenge. Vending machine business, you know, because you set it and now it's working for you 24. You know, stuff online nowadays, if you can do stuff online, it's not nearly as much. The only good thing for us right now is that we're not a restaurant business, and we're not we're not stranded basically. And right now they don't have robots that will do our job yet, which is hang garage doors. And, you know, I'm surprised garage door companies out there, manufacturers I should say, haven't found a way to do more counterbalance with weights versus the springs that break. I mean, granted, the springs are great for us because those are your money makers. Sometimes those things break, people need them fixed right away. But you gotta be like a tow truck company. That's the thing you gotta understand, is you gotta be on your toes all the time, and you gotta be ready to go like a fireman. And that is the one big challenge, versus, for instance, you know, I got a rental house that needs a roof. I've been planning it for probably about 3 months now, and it's at my disposal. It's at my discrepancy. You know what I mean? I can't breathe. Anyways, but what I'm getting at is that I can do it when I need to. It's not an emergency. Now things can arise, you know, toilet backflows, whatever, but I got systems in place that take care of that, so it's not such an emergency. So it's really challenging. I mean, I'm passionate. I do enjoy the garage door industry. It's been very good to me. But the margins are tight, and you gotta be smart with things. You gotta be, it's like lean manufacturing. You gotta be on top of things. You gotta not make certain trips. You gotta ask customers certain questions to try to get through the BS. And you gotta try to figure out what's a good customer to a bad customer. So I think this was a really, really good question, and I really appreciate the email. But I would, you know, if you're working for a garage door company, I would stay on their good side, and, you know, let them know that you'd like to branch out of some sort. You know what I mean? Don't go hog wild and overwhelm them and say, I'm quitting today, or, you know, this or that. If they're decent people, they've been fair to you, I might try to branch out a little bit, and see if, you know, it's tough, because when you go out like that, you're making a void in their business, and sometimes that void has to be filled. So in my business, I've seen where when guys leave, I need a certain amount of people to make service calls, commercial service calls happen, right? Because what happens is you're going to start getting busier, and you're not going to be there at my disposal at the moment of time. So it's kind of like this. I look at it like when guys work for me, not that they don't work hard at all, because my guys are amazing and they do an awesome job, and I appreciate them. And women, you know what I mean? Everybody that works for me, I really, really, really appreciate. They do such a great job, and I'm so thankful. And I'm trying. I want to do more for them. So I have some pretty big shoes to fill. But when they work for me, you know, it's a different mentality. You know, you get to relax. You get to take lunch. when you're on your own, you don't take lunch. You don't relax. It's go, go, go. You miss the soccer games with your kids. You miss hunting. There's a lot of things. And I mean, not that they have to, but if you want to keep going and growing, it's really tough. It is really tough. So if you can work with somebody and keep going and slowly branch out, but a lot of guys that have done that have burned their bridges with us, and they don't realize that, because they get this wild idea that they're just going to go out and in the garage door business and these companies make all this money, and that's not the truth at all. We have a lot of overhead, and it's taken many years, a lot of handshakes, a lot of commitments, because there's been a lot of guys that have been with me that promise me the world, to say they're going to take care of something, do something, and then they end up either leaving, quitting, get fired, whatever the case is. And guess who's the last man standing? It's me. I'm the guy that has to go out on the weekends. I'm the guy that has to go after hours. If there's really a problem with a customer that's a good customer, I get the phone call. I have to go out there and shake their hand and say, I'm going to make sure we take care of you. I don't care what it costs. I will take care of you personally if I have to. So there's just a lot of stress. A lot of stress. That's what all this is. This is what these gray hairs, it's called stress. But it's been good. But like I said, if you can keep working behind the scenes, as a part-time, and you can keep making whatever, if you can do stuff online, nowadays we got this technology, and I don't even utilize it as much as I would like to, but there's so many other ways, because you're going to realize that there's a lot of competition. You're going to realize that the prices are constantly changing. You're battling a lot of things in the garage door, and not to say there's not other things, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. You can, like I said, you can make a decent living, but there is a threshold. The vehicle can only take you so far. Rich Dad Poor Dad, those are great books if you ever looking to start out in something. Robert Kiyosaki, vehicles, that's how I look at life. Everything's a vehicle, and a vehicle can only go so fast, or maybe it's breaking down and you have to jump into a different vehicle. Another thing would be, understand what your exit plan is. What are you looking to achieve out of this? What are you looking to, because you gotta, eventually we all have to hang up the sword at some time or another. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but I hope that answers some of it for you on the vendor side of it. If you can find a middle person right now and get a good relationship with them. I know a guy that he didn't have a good relationship with one of our vendors. They wouldn't even let him in the door. They told him he could leave, and he was working for me, and that was pretty embarrassing. So keeping those guys happy, it seems like it's a lot easier. I've done a lot of lunch with these guys, and some of them you got to figure out which vendor. Some are district oriented, so like for instance, like Clopay is one that they only deal with so many vendors, and they won't take on anymore for that certain area. So if there's already somebody that has the Clopay dealership, they won't take one on for 50 miles, 100 miles. I don't know what their criterias are. And then some are just like, hey, sign here, buy from us, I get a commission, Merry Christmas. So you can reach out to a lot of like some of the ones that are like Safeway. Who else is out there? I'm trying to think of another one, like Horman's a German company. They're pretty loose. They're like I think of like the lumber yards. You could also buy from a lumber yard. I don't know if I'd buy from a lumber yard. I would try to find that middle person, but if you have no other option, then get from a lumber yard. Check your prices. The big thing with garage doors is if you can get the hardware, good hardware, you're normally golden. You could buy the doors from Menards. The sections I never had problems with. It's always the hardware is where, the spring setup and that is where they get kind of cheesy. Obviously you might want to rip off the stickers, or something like that, because people will call you out. Customers are very resourceful. They will, you got this at this, it was on sale or something, and then, but really all they want is their door to go up and down and work, and for you to come back if something happens and honor your word. So, for a long time there, you know, with taxes and everything else, and then with us traveling to go get our openers for a long time, I was thinking about just installing ones from the box stores. And I'll tell you a little story. When we used to work for Lowe's, I was so just blown away how many times we would pull up to Lowe's customers and the customer would never like they would never question the situation. Like I never had them like ever just go, huh, wow, that's an affordable door and gate, you know, why didn't I call you guys first? It was like they were just in this whole, like Lowe's just in general, those people they're a different breed. That's all I can say. But they would never say that to me, like, why didn't I call you? You know, it was like they almost were poised that they know that they went to Lowe's, they already gave them the money, they just want their stuff installed. And it was just the weirdest thing. Like, I just never could understand, like, the openers, like, they just don't care. It was like they just care about the door opening and closing. They got a good price and make it work. You know what I mean? It's like if you can do a door and an opener, it's like the customers are just tickled, right? But you do like maybe a door and rehook their old opener, it's still noisy or something. They kind of go, you know, it's still kind of noisy, and you're like, well, it's your opener, you know. It's just weird complexity to things. And customers are tough. Employees are harder. Like I said, I got a good group. It's taken me many years to learn how to filter, and you got to use your gut. But yeah, you know, you can go out, like I said, on your own. But I think it was I think Grant Cardone, when I used to watch him quite a bit, I think he's kind of up against the wall with all his real estate stuff. But I think he's a good salesman, and I think he has a few good points. You know, I think everybody, you try to take little chunks here and there. And he was always saying that, you know, you're better off working for somebody. You can make more money than you can, you know, going out and doing it on your own. That is somewhat true. You know, if you're not a grinder, you know, like, I mean, you got to be willing to go out and knock on doors. You got to go up to people and say, hey, I'd like to service you. I want your business. I really appreciate this job. I need to put food on the table for my family. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And if that's not really you, you're just kind of loosey-goosey, just all-around person or whatever, then you're better off staying with somebody, working with them, showing them that you're a good technician or whatever, and work your way up, you know, and maybe explain the situation that maybe, you know, you tell them, say, I'm looking for a little bit more freedom, and but I still want to work, and can you make me a you know, a subcontractor? Can you know, put me down to so many hours? I think there's options. It's just, don't expect them right away. Everything, you know, if you go nice and slow and steady, you'll win the race. But like I said, I've had a lot of guys work for me, and they just think that they're going to jump into this, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of them didn't make it, because they don't understand it. You know, they still want to go party on the weekends. They still want to not work, you know, Saturdays and Sundays. And in this line of business, you work every day pretty much. If you get a day off a year, you're a lucky man, and that's normally Christmas, because that's the only day you can about say to people that it's Christmas, and I'm not answering my phone, and you know. But any other day, you know, it's 24/7. I'm very blessed now that I got the systems in place and I got the resources and people. But I've been there. It's tough. It is really tough. And like I said, if I had to go back, I don't know if I would go down that path. I am happy that I did, and I'm happy that I'm here where I'm at. But if you can find, like I said, I don't know what it is out there, but if you're, the only thing I can look for our children right now, I feel like, is maybe something that's real estate. And the reason I say that is because, you know, if you think about it, a house, a roof is something that can't be replaced with an app. Everything's changing so fast. I couldn't tell you, you know, I used to work at a shop, and I'm glad I don't work there anymore, because it was miserable. I hated working for a buzzard. You know, I absolutely hated working for a buzzard. You know, buzzard to take a 15-minute break, You know, you know, you know how it is. You have bathroom attacks and stuff, and you're trying to run a machine, and then you got to run, and then the supervisor's looking at you. You know, you have to walk up to the supervisor and tell them, say, hey, can I get a couple days off next week or this and that? And it was like they looked at you like, what? You want a couple days off? How are we supposed to? You know, and it's like, I'm sorry, you know, I've worked 2 years in a row. Can I get a couple days off? So I totally get that. But that's why I kind of built, you know, I built Affordable Door and Gate, because I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted people to have a life, and I wanted it to be, you know, everybody in my business is so great, and that's why, you know, they need to do something, see ya. You know what I mean? Because I can trust them. I believe in them. I'm thankful for them. And, you know, I got their back and they got my back. And that's all I ask. And let's just work as a team, always be honest. And it's great. It's great. When you got a good team, it's awesome. You're the best football team around, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, Mr. J, I hope that kind of opens your eyes to some things. I definitely don't want to discourage you from, if you are thinking about doing some more stuff on your own. There's definitely a lot of blessings in doing it, but there's also a lot of curse that people don't think about. And I would say the biggest thing is just don't burn your bridges. You know, be honest, and take it slow. Don't overwhelm somebody with like, hey, I want to do this like next week. You know what I mean? Like I'm you know, it's one of those things. If somebody's a jerk and kind of stuff like that, then you got to kind of take action and do whatever. But you know, I'd rather, if employees leave me, I'd rather that we be good friends and you did everything to your full ability, and you are just upfront and honest, and held the contract. You know what I mean? Did your part, and just be blunt and just be completely honest. Like I said, I've had to go through so many different things that and the thing is that when you're an owner, you start sniffing. You can sniff things out. You know what I mean? And I always tell everybody that works for me, it's, you know, I might not I might not catch you today, might not catch you tomorrow, but I will catch you. It will surface, because everybody in the community, everybody, the fire department, the police department, everybody talks, and eventually it will come around and you will hear things. And so if you're just a good, genuine person, I think that's the best way to live life. Cats, man, I got 35 acres here, and they got to be right behind me. I thought I'd give you guys this fall here in Michigan, so the leaves, look at, what is your deal? So anyways, I'm gonna leave you with that. Thanks for the email, and I wish you the best. Love you, brother. Take care of you guys. Hit that thumbs up if you don't mind on the way out, and then you should subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Anyways, I got to get to these cats. They need some attention. We'll see ya.